V6 stock car. Right now, let's go to Glenn Jarrett. He's down on the pole with the pole winner.
Well, thank you, Steve. Sitting on the pole here today is Scott Hanson. Scott is better known as an ASA racer. He's finished third in that series for the past 3 years. He has been to the Copper Classic several times in the past, always qualifies and runs well. You got to feel real good today, Scott, coming out here setting this thing on the pole.
Well, we do. You know, we got this new Oldsmobile body on this car, and this is a car that we finished up ASA with, and it ran real well, and we brought it out here as a new car, and Carl Wagner engine, and, you know, here it is sitting on a pole, and we had just a great run. With the success you've had here, you evidently really like this racetrack. I do. You know, it reminds me a lot of like the Milwaukee racetrack and one of my home tracks, Kaukauna, Wisconsin. They're pretty much the same characteristic between the two, and, you know, we've been able to run real well down there, too. Well, you're out front right now. Is your strategy to try to stay out there all the way? I don't know. I'm going to see how hard these guys want to run. You know, it's 50 laps. It's a sprint race. You still have to save the tires. So I'm just hoping that we can stay up front, definitely, as long as we can. If they want to go off and lead it for a little bit, I'm not going to force it until the end of the race. Okay, best of luck to you. Thank you very much. Now let's go back to Brock Yates.
Well, starting on the outside of the front row is a man who is so familiar with victory lane here, it's almost redundant to ask him how many times he won here. Kenny Schrader has won here just about, I don't think he ever run at go-karts on this racetrack, but about everything else. And you got a pretty good spot to start up front today. Scott Hanson, oh, you run against him a lot in ASA, haven't you, Kenny?
Yeah, Scott drove my car last year for me at my art kart, Daytona and Atlanta, and he's a real good racer, and he gets around this place real good.
This deal, 50 laps, I know you practically are sure to some of the less experienced guys getting loose and up against the fence and one thing or other, so you got to be careful, I would imagine.
Well, you know, hopefully nobody will get in the fence, but, you know, it has a tendency to always happen at a place where some of the younger drivers go to a high-speed joint, but I think, you know, everybody was real good in practice stuff, and I look for a good, clean race.
Good. Well, let's hope you see number whatever it is here. You see in victory lane.
Okay.
Okay, Kenny. Good luck. Glenn?
Okay, starting in the number 8 position is defending Southwest Tour champion Rick Corelli. Rick, you're certainly no stranger to the Copper Classic. You've got a couple of wins here. How do you feel about today?
Actually, I feel pretty good. You know, this year we're running a V6, and seems like if we can get the tires to last and some good corner speed, I think we'll be up there probably maybe 15, 20 laps into the race.
Well, in a 50-lap race like this, corner speed obviously is very important. And with the V6 engine, do you feel like that might prevent the car from getting a little loose, having a little less torque when you first get in it?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Last year when we were here, they had a V8, and halfway through the race, car started loosening up after it started getting some laps on the tires. So we come down with a V6, and I think I can pick the gas up a little sooner and keep the car a little smoother rolling through the corners. I think that's the answer. That's what I'm hoping for.
Keep your eyes on this guy, folks. He's a champion.
Well, folks, 44 cars will start in just a few minutes. Should be interesting to see how many finish. If you saw last year's show, you know what I'm talking about. There was no shortage of action. Stay with us.
Stay tuned to find out how you can receive a free bottle of the exciting new color car polish, Color Match. Are you still polishing your car with old-fashioned waxes and polishes, rubbing, buffing, and waxing, only to highlight those nasty nicks and scratches? Well, now you can throw them all away. Introducing Color Match, the acrylic sealant that actually matches your car's original color. Now you can use Color Match to cover all those minor nicks and scratches with a protective shine that lasts for 1 full year guaranteed. Watch how it works. First, we'll damage this car's paint. Ouch, that's damage. Now watch as we apply the Color Match system. Look how easily it goes on. Now watch how these nicks and scratches disappear. Now you see them, now you don't. Even dull, faded finishes are brought back to the car's original color with an acrylic finish. Color Match even restores and protects your car's finish from the damaging rays of the sun and punishing effects of Mother Nature without leaving those ugly swirl marks.
Color Match really works.
And it's so easy to use.
With Color Match, you'll have the right color with results that last 1 full year guaranteed. Even after 50 times through the car wash, it won't wash off. And don't worry, Color Match is not a paint. It's a high-tech dye and an acrylic polish blended to match your car's color. Experts agree, Color Match makes everything else obsolete. The Color Match system is yours for only $19.95. Order now and you'll receive a second bottle in the color of your choice absolutely free. And that's not all. We'll also throw in Glass Shield window protectant, our amazing Duragloss vinyl leather and tire restorer, and Fog Shield, the fog eliminator. An extra bonus value of over $20 yours free when you order the complete Color Match car care system for only $19.95. Here's how to order.
Call 1-800-858-8181 or send check or money order for $19.95 plus $4.95 shipping and handling to Color Match, 300 McCann Street, Nashville, Tennessee. Or call 1-800-858-8181.
Having just seen the midgets run 25 really quick, clean laps, it's time now for the NASCAR Southwest Tour stock cars to get out and bang some metal and shred some fiberglass, Steve Evans, because these guys will go fender to fender for 50 laps.
And if they do that without a yellow flag, Yates, I will pay you $1 million.
Well, there's no question about it. Kenny Schrader was pretty charitable when he said that some of these guys are not too experienced in this kind of racetrack, and that is absolutely true. Most of these fellas run. There's Davey Allison starting in row 5, one of the real stars here in this field, but most of the guys here are pretty much accustomed to running third and quarter and half-mile racetracks, and the Phoenix 1 mile oval here is tricky at best, and when you throw a bunch of fellas out here who just aren't used to these kind of speeds and velocities, we're going to have some problems.
How about Herschel Mcgrib back in row 11, still racing very competitively in his 60s, has won more victories than almost any driver in American racing history.
Great race driver. Ron Esau, of course, from Southern California, one of the best of the short track drivers out there, has done very, very well. But a fine bunch of drivers. They're good shoes and good cars, but oftentimes the setups get a little weird. Just people are not ready. Their crews and their driving experience just not ready yet for the big mile at Phoenix. And these cars are going to average over 130 miles an hour under green, which makes the tire question all the more formidable. Earlier, Steve had a look at tire technology here at Phoenix.
In the stock car division here at Phoenix, there is a direct relationship between a tire rule and an engine rule. Let me explain first the tire rule. Unlike last year, you can't change tires unless they're absolutely flat. Even if you spin the car 3 times and flat spot them, if there's air in them, they stay on the car. You drive it on square wheels. And that's all well and good. It means teams don't have to go to the expense of having a lot of spare tires or a huge crew that can make a 4-tire change. But if you're like Herschel Mcgrib, driving the old 4 car, and you came here with a high compression V8, you're going to pay the price. The rules say if you run that motor, you carry another 150 pounds of weight. They think that's worth it on the big track here at Phoenix, if they can catch a yellow and change tires. That was their plan. Would have worked last year, not this year. They'll drive this car on the rubber that it's installed for the green flag start.
Well, that makes it particularly tough, as Steve said, for a car that is already 150 pounds heavier than some of the V6s. So we're lined up here 2 by 2 on the Phoenix Mile, getting ready for a start.
And it should be an interesting affair with 2 good friends and former teammates, Kenny Schrader and Scott Hansen. There they are, side by side. Schrader on the outside.
In the familiar 25 as the field streams down through turns number 1, and Schrader has taken the lead already from Scott Hansen in the white 53.
And number 2, Dirk Stevens, is coming up to take second from Scott Hansen. But quickly, let's look at the back of the pack and see how A.J. Boyd is doing. There's the 22 car already moving up smartly, passing old 4 Herschel Mcgrib. Herschel's got some kind of horrible problem. He is falling back as fast as you possibly can.
Trouble in turn number 3, actually coming off the dog leg into turn 3. That is Wally Pettengill Jr. Got that car up against the fence. He started way in the back. Looks like he can restart, but he is finished for the day. I would imagine a bunch of bent sheet metal up front there.
And more importantly, I do not owe Brock Yates $1 million now. Our first caution of the race is out. It no doubt won't be the last. Stay with us here in Phoenix, Arizona. We'll be back with more of the Copper World Classic. Never a disappointment on this 1-mile track.
Quote, Dodge Dakota Sport with a new optional 180 horsepower Magnum V6 out-accelerates Ford Ranger and Chevy S10 and does it for under 10 grand. Unquote. Dodge, the most powerful line of trucks anywhere.
Get up to $2,000 cash back on select trucks during the Dodge Dare to Compare Challenge.
Let's take off our sneakers and get comfortable.
Uh-oh, sneaker odor.
Let's go to the movies.
Tame ferocious sneaker odor with Sneaker Tamers from Odor Eaters. Springy insoles with activated charcoal, the world's most powerful odor destroyer. Sneaker Tamers has it. This Scholl's doesn't. Sneaker Tamers absorb sweat, destroy sneaker odor, guaranteed for the life of your sneakers.
No more sneaker odor.
Sneaker Tamers from Odor Eaters.
On the surface, it's a perfect neighborhood. Everything's so well maintained. But beneath the surface, there could be trouble brewing in the septic system. Ask anyone who's had a backup. Better to maintain your system. Regular maintenance, including Rid-X, helps keep your septic system free-flowing and helps prevent backup. Look beneath the surface. Use Rid-X once a month.
Rid-X wants you to have this free booklet of easy septic system maintenance tips and helpful information. Just call 1-800-944-RID-X. 1-800-944-RID-X.
Is it courage or a death wish that makes pro riders strap themselves to 2,000 pounds of mean meat? It's the ultimate test of skill, endurance, and bravery when 30 of the world's best bull riders tackle 70 of the most spirited and temperamental bulls in the country. From the Lazy E Arena, a special edition of Championship Rodeo, Bonanza 92. Today, 5:30 p.m. Eastern, only on TNN.
Under caution here at Phoenix, and that is another casualty of the Wally Pettigill's Jr. spin on the back straight. That is Darrell Krentz in the 15. You can see the left front suspension seriously askew. And here is more problems. This is Herschel Mcgrib. Started 21st, but went right to the back, as Steve mentioned earlier. Obvious engine problems. So the great veteran from Oregon apparently through for the day, or at least is going to run in seriously crippled condition.
But we're just about ready for a restart. In fact, the green flag is in the hand of the starter as he looks over the field coming out of turn number 4. We're just moments away from trying to run a complete lap here in Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay, green out. Here comes Kenny Schrader leading him down into turn number 1. Right behind him, that's Dirk Stevens in the black and yellow number 2, the O2 car. As Kenny comes off the field so far, behaving properly through turns 1 and 2. Let's see how they do the dog leg and down into the tricky turns 3 and 4. Okay, here comes Schrader leading Stevens. Right behind him is Toby Butler, who started third and sitting in third, and right behind him, Scott Hansen, the pole sitter.
But here is Dirk Stevens, who apparently hasn't read Kenny Schrader's press kit. Takes the lead away from Schrader, and Dirk Stevens is moving in on the inside of Schrader. Little smoke off of the left front, maybe a brake problem. Didn't look like it was off the tires, but look at this. Schrader is now 3rd place. He may not be abusing his tires, though.
Well, Butler, though, is taking away the lead from Dirk Stevens as they head down through turns 3 and 4. There's AJ, still moving through the field. He is fighting right now the 27 car, Brian Brown, for 25th position. So, boy, definitely on the prowl here in the back of the field, and his big mission right now is to just save those tires, move steadily up through the field. He's got 50 laps, or about 48 right now, and save the tires and stay out of trouble in the event there's some spins.
All right, in the event there's some spins, here we're back to the leader, number 38, Toby Butler, 2, Dirk Stevens, 53, Scott Hansen, 97, Ron Hornaday. Kenny Schrader is falling back. He's clear back to 6 right now.
Yeah, that something's gone away on that race car, and it could be tires. As you said earlier, Steve, there's no way that you're going to make a change on these things. You run with what you put on as far as tires, and no opportunity even under cautions or red flags, which we could have here if we blocked the racetrack with spinning race cars. There's Scott Hansen, who's still sitting in the 3rd spot. There's your leader, 38, Toby Butler, came out of 3rd place to get by Dirk Stevens, who's sitting back there in 2nd. Scott Hansen in 3rd, and right behind them, Corelli and Rick Hornaday fighting it out for the 4th spot.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, and we've got a truly bizarre crash here. The 44 car, Bob Lyon, has been bookended by 64, Mark Meach, and the 28 car, Gary Collins. Collins has got some fire at the right front corner. They're going to probably run out and try to get that taken care of. You can see it just blazing away into the hood. Yep, there's emergency crew right on top of it. Well, some other cars involved as well, Brock Yates.
Yeah, but apparently everybody is okay. 10, Ernie Cope is back there. His front end is pretty badly crushed. And you can see there's Gary Collins getting unbuckled and climbing out of his race car. He's all right. Oh, apparently no serious injury, just a lot of bent sheet metal and fiberglass spread all over this racetrack. Of course, everything is a screeching halt right now. There is Ernie Cope. Gary Collins started 16th and is going to finish well back of that right now. These cars blocking a racetrack here at Phoenix. While they clear the wreckage, we'll take this time out.
The legendary Ginsu knife. It was the sharpest value in the history of television. But you ain't seen nothing yet. Introducing the next generation, Ginsu World Class. It's quite simply the finest knife in the world.
You mean finer than our famous English knives? Finer than our German knives?
Yes, even finer than our own classic Ginsu. As sharp as that knife was, the new Ginsu World Class is in a class by itself. The high-carbon stainless steel blade has incredible strength. Even with abuse like this, it still never needs sharpening. No matter what your cutting chores, nothing cuts it like the Ginsu World Class. It's as simple as that. No other knife has a triple ground curved blade. No other knife has such precision sharpness. An instrument like this could easily cost $100, but not here. Ginsu World Class is yours for only $29.95, complete with this double guarantee. If you're not convinced it's the finest knife in the world, return it for a complete refund. And if it ever fails to perform, we'll replace it free. Sharp offer, sharp value. Order now and you'll also get a complete set of these legendary Ginsu steak knives, plus all these accessory knives as a special bonus. Ginsu World Class, a legendary cut above the rest. Order yours now.
For rush delivery, have your credit card ready and call 1-800-826-1100. That's 1-800-826-1100. Or send $29.95 plus $4.95 shipping to Ginsu World Class, P.O. Box 8900-G29, Buffalo Grove, Illinois 60089. Order now. That's 1-800-826-1100.
Well, we're back in Phoenix, Arizona, where the most important vehicle so far in the stock car portion of the Copper World Classic has been the wrecker. He has finally drug off the disabled automobiles. Toby Butler is going to lead us to a restart, followed by Dirk Stevens, Ron Hornaday, Rick Corelli, series champion from last year, Scott Hansen, who started on the pole.
Kenny Schrader, who started on the outside of the front row, led it briefly, has fallen back to 6th. We'll see whether he's biding his time or perhaps has some mechanical problems. Earlier, Glenn Jarrett had a chance to talk with the young man who leads this race.
You're looking at the engine of car number 38, which will be driven by Toby Butler of Kirkland, Washington. Toby is certainly no stranger here at Phoenix International Raceway. This is his first time, however, at the Copper World Classic. Toby, based on your performances in the fall races here last November and also in November of 1990, you got to feel like Phoenix owes you one.
Well, I'll tell you, you know, we've done our share of leading and running pretty quick here. We actually weren't even going to come here. Wide World of Maps out of Phoenix called us up and said they'd help us out a little bit with our travel expenses, so we thought, heck, they do owe us one, so we're here.
Well, in the fall Southwest Tour race in 1990, you were leading. You had a rear end problem that eventually knocked you out. Last fall, or last November in 1991, you had to race. You were running away with it, had a tire problem. What's the key to getting around this place?
I don't know. Like I said, the car works excellent. I think a guy's gotta be just, use his head. This track can bite you. Like Kenny Schrader told us, you hit the wall here and you hit a ton. So, a guy just got to keep his head straight and drive, cautious with aggressiveness. And, I think a guy'd do all right here.
Well, so far, Toby is certainly doing all right here for a guy who almost didn't come. The 38 car lead in the race, but getting a lot of pressure from Dirk Stevens.
And look at Rick Corelli, who jumped out of the 4th spot to get underneath both Stevens and Hornaday to take over 2nd spot. So Rick Corelli got a great restart there, Steve, as they head down into the dogleg. It's Toby Butler leading it, but here comes Corelli.
Well, it was Corelli's team car that he rented out to Junior Handy last year that won this race. So Corelli would like to do it himself. Maybe keep all of the prize money instead of a rental fee. Again, let's look back at old A.J. Foyt, Supertax in the 22 car. He's now moved up to the 22nd position. That's about 22 more than he had when he started.
he's doing just fine, AJ. He was, I talked to him right after that crash in qualifying. He was pretty disappointed, but he marvelous competitor. And I'll tell you what, after coming back from the injuries that he sustained in that IndyCar crash at Elkhart Lake, he is showing some real muscle.
All right, back to the leaders. 38, Toby Butler. Number 6, Rick Corelli. Corelli doesn't seem to be really moving up any more than he already has. Dirk Stevens, however, is challenging 97 Ron Hornaday for that 3rd position.
Hornaday in that bright yellow automobile. Right in front of him, that blue and red 6 car of Rick Corelli out of Denver, Colorado. One of the good runners here in the Southwest Tour.
Well, some problems here for the Alabama gang. Davey Allison making his first start here in Phoenix in the 46 car in the Copper World, of course. Started 9th and fallen back to 11th, and now they're in there getting some tires, which, as we told you before, unless they're totally flat, you can't do that. Maybe they were. After you do it, you just pay a penalty.
The penalty he pays is for a green flag stop, because these guys are running away from him. This is the battle for 2nd place. Corelli, Hornaday, Stevens in that order, going at it as the leader has kind of jumped out to a pretty solid lead. There he is coming down the front straightaway. That is Toby Butler. Got about 6 cars on that blue and red automobile of Rick Corelli's. But I'll tell you what, Steve, you got to be careful. You can't be too aggressive. 50 laps is pretty marginal for the tires here. And if you run real hard in the opening stages, you can run right out from under your rubber near the end of it and give somebody else a chance who's been more conservative to just reel you in.
Well, nothing conservative about A.J. Foyt, the 22 car. Of course, you can't be too careful when you start dead last. But he's not dead last any longer. He is now in the 21st position, challenging Ray Lawson Jr. And our guy Glenn is with his crew chief, Leon Ruther.
Of course, you know that A.J. had a little problem in qualifying, crashed the car, but he's moving up through the field pretty good, Leon. How does he say it feels?
He's doing pretty good. When he was behind that 14 car, the car was a little bit loose. Now that he's got it in front of him, it's better now.
So it looks like he's going to be able to stay out there and continue that march toward the front?
That's what we're hoping.
Hey, thanks a lot.
All right, well, A.J. is now in the 21st position, challenging the 06 car of Ray Lawson Jr. 96, Will Harper may feel his fight as well for that 19th position. Go, A.J.
As he moves down the front straightaway and begins to thread his way through even more traffic, one wonders what if A.J. had qualified up in the top couple of rows. He would have definitely been a player right now.
But that never seems to happen for him here. Crashing and qualifying is a tradition, and then running well on race day, another tradition. He's going to be up there if he can stay out of trouble, and that's hard to do here. That's why I wonder why anybody even leading this race would try to amass a big lead. That chances are so big that you're going to get a yellow and let the field catch up to you. In the meantime, while you're getting that lead, you're abusing the tires and you can't change them.
Well, I think that A.J. is definitely counting on a lot of yellows. He knows that there will be more, and he's going to take his chances between those yellows to just pick off as many cars as he can, hope for some yellows to cool the rubber down, and then resume his charge. But right now, he's working just fine. The race car looks like it handles that low groove well. A.J., of course, extremely experienced with any kind of racing, especially this tight cut-and-shoot sort of stock car racing. That he grew up in the midgets and the sprint cars, and he's extremely comfortable with this very close order competition.
Guess who won the first IndyCar race ever held here?
Let me guess. Maybe A.J. Foyt?
Yeah, absolutely.
How about that?
I knew you'd know. Okay, back up with the leaders. 38, Toby Butler. Number 2, Dirk Stevens has moved into 2nd position, past Corelli. Corelli maybe just kind of cruising out there. He knows the format of this race. And there's Schrader. He has dropped way back. Started 2nd, falling back to 9th, and doesn't seem to be able to pick off anybody. He's just trying to defend himself.
No, Kenny's got problems, no doubt about it. He would be inclined, I think, to pace himself a little bit, but I don't think he'd let the leaders get 8 or 9 places ahead of him. He's already about a half a track back on these people, and that's too far to be in contention. So Kenny problems, I would imagine, tires that holding up that number 25 automobile that has served him so well in short track competition around the United States.
Well, I'll tell you one guy who's got to be totally pleased, though, is this man in the number 38 car, Toby Butler, having a great ride here. He feels that Phoenix maybe owes him one. Some things that happened here that were not in his control. Number 2, Dirk Stevens, is in that 2nd spot. And here comes Stevens. He's driving pretty hard, Brock. He may be trying to take the lead here in a few laps.
Yeah, there's Stevens, and he's already moved a little bit away from Hornaday in the yellow 97 and opened up some distance on both Hornaday and Corelli sitting back there. So the leaders have stretched out a little bit. Is Butler, then Stevens, then Hornaday, then Corelli. Uh-oh, trouble. That is Dennis Dyer in the 8 car that just scuffed the wall up there in turn number 3, and he will bring out a caution. The car obviously broken up there. In trouble for the second place automobile. That's Dirk Stevens. Smoking big time, probably lost an engine.
Well, whatever fluids they were that got on that hot exhaust system, it wasn't water. Tough break for Dirk Stevens. He had started 4th, was running 2nd in the number 2 car. He's headed for the pit, sliding around on his own oil. So there'll be some track cleanup as well, I'm sure. Stay with us. Brock Yates, Glenn Jarrett, and myself, Steve Evans, will be back for more of this terrific stock car racing from the Copper World Classic in Phoenix, Arizona.
Coming up Sunday on Inside Winston Cup Racing are highlights of the Trans-South 500 and the Mark III Vance 200 from Darlington, South Carolina. We'll also have a story on Team USA, how you can get involved as a sponsor on a Winston Cup car.
Inside Winston Cup Racing, Sports Sundays, 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. Eastern on TNN.
Elvis Presley, now on home video.
Walked through a party in the county jail. Pretty man there, they began to wail. Don't be cruel.
The King and his historic 1968 comeback special is available again on home video. This is the Elvis you remember, at the peak of his power. Order now and you'll get 27 of the King's greatest hits, a full 76 minutes of rare Elvis concert footage. Purchase your own collector's copy of Elvis, live in his 68 comeback special for only $19.95. Here's how to order.
Use your credit card and call 1-800-238-9300 to get your collector's copy of the Elvis 68 Comeback Special video, only $19.95 plus shipping. This is a special TV offer for Elvis fans only. Call 1-800-238-9300. Order now.
We are still under caution here in Phoenix, but while we were away, this happened. Kenny Schrader brought the 25 car into the pits as the crew looking for something that appeared in the drivetrain. They were under that portion of the automobile. Also, Dirk Stevens brought in the number 2 car to try to find the reason for all that smoke we saw pouring out of the back of it. Right now, Glenn Jarrett is in the Stevens pit area to talk to his crew chief and get the load on things.
This is Tom Cragen, crew chief on Dirk Stevens' car, who is running 2nd. At the beginning of that caution period, when he slowed down to take the caution there, a tremendous amount of smoke came out of the car. It looked like a blown engine. What was it?
Power steering hose came off the servo, so he doesn't have any power steering now, but he can still race.
All right, does he think that it's going to slow him down any? That car looked like it was making up a little ground on Toby Butler.
We'll see. I think he can do it. He's in good shape.
Okay.
Always easy, isn't it, Brock, for the crew chief to say, there's no power steering, but he can race.
That's right. He's a real man. But I'll tell you what, there's a guy sitting in that number 22 that started racing stock cars that didn't have power steering in them. They've only used it up until the last few years. Before that, guys like A.J. Foyt haul these race cars around places like Daytona without power steering.
The green flag is out here in Phoenix, and number 38, Toby Butler, is in the lead, getting a lot of heat for 97, Ron Hornaday. 56, Brett Bell is up there now, and Rick Corelli, he's always been there in the 6 car.
So a good race here, but once again, Butler seems to have command of this race. After every restart, he launches really well, gets good starts, and manages to hold about a 4 or 5 car length lead on Hornaday and back in the 2nd spot.
Oh, yeah, Toby Butler having one of his best days ever. Meanwhile, let's check in with Kenny Schrader and Dirk Stevens, the 25 and 2 car. They are both back out, both at the back of the pack, and one without power steering, but they're moving up.
There's Schrader in the white 25. Right behind him, the black and yellow number 2 of Stevens. And Stevens' challenge is going down into the dog leg. Can he get around Kenny? Well, I'll tell you what, he's got a real launch through the dog leg, and he does get by him as they go down into turn number 3. I'll tell you something, there are some problems in that 25 car, Schrader's. He just is not a contender here and doesn't seem to be able to make that thing work at all. That's the 25X of Dan Press. He is in a fight with Rick Corelli for the 4th position. There you see the black 25 of Press, and right in front of him that bright blue and red 6 of Rick Corelli. Corelli has been among the leaders all day, 4th, 3rd, right up in there, and doesn't seem to be able to move much farther ahead than 4th place.
Of all the regular teams that campaign this NASCAR Southwest Tour, Corelli probably has the better equipment, the better organization. It is run like a big-time team with the transporter, the spare car, and very capable full-time people. That's one of the reasons they won the championship last year. Another big reason is Corelli himself.
Good, solid race driver, and he may just be sitting back there right now, biding his time, saving his tires, and getting ready for a late race charge. But right now, he's got his hands full with Press, who is trying to get around him into that 4th position.
And I'll tell you, there's a guy in the back here who's really on a roll. He's in the middle now. Number 2, Dirk Stevens, after that pit stop, even with no power steering. Look at that 2-car fly. He's passed the 05 car of Brian Germont, the 06 car of Ray Lawson, and is about to try to do the same thing to number 3, Harry Brady, in the 54 car of Kenny Hendrick.
There you see Hendricks up there in the 54 car. There's 3 of Brady. And here comes Stevens down low. Car working well in that low groove, and you got to get around this racetrack in that low groove if you're going to go anywhere.
And to be honest about it, the lack of power steering is not a big problem for Dirk Stevens. It would be if it failed at the start of a 500-mile race on a 90-degree day. But here in this fairly short 50-lap affair, he's not having any problem whatsoever with that.
Well, as I said earlier, they resisted using him in Winston Cup, then Grand National Stock Car Racing for years. They didn't like the extra weight and the lack of reliability and whatever. Now it's pretty common stuff, but I mentioned earlier, A.J. Foyt, in all seriousness, never used it, as did any of his contemporaries back in the 60s and 70s.
Number 2, Dirk Stevens gets past number 3, Harry Brady, for that 18th spot. And now he's moving up on Blair Aiken. That's the 09 machine. So Dirk Stevens having a lot of fun out there. I'm not sure he'd rather be up front where he was.
And speaking of the leaders, that is 38. The leader, Toby Butler, being challenged now a little bit more by 97 Ron Hornaday in that yellow and red automobile, or orange automobile, and they have kind of broken away from the rest of the pack. So guys like Corelli and the rest of the field about 10 or 15 car lengths behind Hornaday.
You know, we're seeing a little smoke out of the wheel well of the bleeding car, the 38 machine of Toby Butler. What do you think that is, Russ?
It's very possibly the brakes are getting hot here. The guys abuse them a little bit down in these corners, and it's very possible that these disc brakes on these cars are just starting to warm up a little bit, but it doesn't seem to be impeding his progress at all. It also could be a little tire smoke off of body rubbing here and there. Hard to say.
All right, the interval back to the race for 3rd. Still a good one. Number 6, Rick Corelli, 25X, Dan Press, 56, Brett Bell. All 3 of those guys. There you see them all in your picture at one time. That's Corelli coming head on at you in the blue and red car.
Look at Dirk Stevens and A.J. Foyt going at it, and Stevens rolls right around A.J. Stevens very quick on this racetrack, obviously very frustrated because of that stop he had to make, and now trying to make us up as much ground as he can.
And Stevens is now in the 13th position. A.J. in the blue 22 car behind him is 14th. Right back to that race for 3rd position. Number 6, Rick Corelli, 25X, Dan Press.
Well, they moved up a little bit. It looks like, yes, as a matter of fact, Corelli is now in maybe a couple of cars back from Hornaday in the 2nd spot. That's a 77 car. That's Vince Gianformaggio, who's a lap car. Hornaday in the yellow 97, he is perhaps being slowed up a little bit by traffic, which has given Corelli a chance in that blue and red 6 to move in right on his rear bumper.
And for Corelli, I don't need to tell him this, he knows this, it's now or never time. He has got to start moving to the front. If he's been pacing his tires, well, he can't afford to do that any longer.
Well, these guys are no question thinking about a sprint to the finish right now, if you're going to, as you say, if you're going to make a move. But Hornaday is boxed in a little bit in some slower cars, and that is going to give Corelli a chance if he does it right. And Corelli is very experienced, as is Hornaday, in this kind of short track stock car competition. So it's going to be interesting to see who takes advantage of this traffic. If Hornaday gets around one of these slow guys, he's going to block Corelli. If Corelli gets underneath him, which he apparently is going to do right now, He's got the low line down into turn number 3, Steve, and he's going to get over underneath the Hornaday and take over second spot.
Some opportunistic driving by Corelli. That's exactly what he'd been waiting for, and it finally happened. And boy, did he leap on that opportunity. Whoop, the caution is out. We've got a car in trouble. That is number 3, Harry Brady. He spun. You might have saw a little of that smoke. 60, Jerry Bowers also involved. Well, we talked about a sprint to the finish. Stay with us. We'll have that when we return to Phoenix, Arizona in the Copper World Classic.
Honey, I got a new tractor.
Obsolescence.
Honey, I got a new tractor.
It's the fact of life that says nothing lives forever.
Honey, I got a new tractor.
At Cub Cadet, we put a lot of time into our products.
Honey, I got a new tractor.
So you'll get a lot of time out of them.
Honey.
You can accept obsolescence.
Honey.
Or you can fight it.
You got a
Cub Cadet. Working overtime.
Costly engine wear occurs when you first start your car because even the best motor oils and additives are down in the oil pan. Slick 50 protects your engine at startup. It treats the engine, not the oil. Independent lab tests showed Slick 50 reduced engine wear by 50% for 50,000 miles. Since 1978, over 15 million people worldwide have used Slick 50. Starting your engine without it is a terrible thing to do.
With Minwax polyurethane, you can do more than admire your wood. You can live with it, too, because Minwax contains pure urethane oil to protect wood while giving it beauty you can really live with. Minwax keeps wood beautiful.
To pull her through a nasty lunch, regular Rolaids uses an aluminum salt. But his antacid is Tums, and Tums has calcium.
Something my body needs anyway. I like that.
Calcium-rich Tums.
There are still places you can go where the best things in life are free. Panama City Beach, Florida. Dazzling snow-white beaches rated among the top 14 in America. Crystal blue waters. Rolling dunes. A natural wonderland tucked away in northwest Florida. Panama City Beach. Call 1-800-PC-BEACH.
The final round, where misjudgment leads to misfortune and victory is a microsecond away. Now, for the first time in cable history, the NHRA comes to TV live. Feel the heat as 4,500 horses storm down the quarter mile. Share the ride at 300 miles an hour and experience it all as it happens.
The final rounds of the NHRA Winston Invitational. Today, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 Central, live. Only on TNN Motorsports.
One thing KT Oslin will never wear out is her welcome. When she stars in the USO Celebrity Tour KT Oslin Special, Monday night on TNN.
Back at the Copper Classic in Phoenix, Arizona. Yellow still out. Toby Butler leads it. Rick Corelli in second place. Hornaday just got by him for third. Dirk Stevens has moved up to the 5th spot. That's big news after making that pit stop. And A.J. Foyt all the way from the back up to 8th place.
From 44th to 8th. That's a pretty good day's work for Supertex, I'd say. And the fans are having a great time watching, but also maybe even a better time watching number 38, Toby Butler, who's going to lead them on this, what we hope will be the final restart of the day.
All right, look at that dash for first place down there into the corner as Corelli holds off Hornaday for second, but still Butler is just dominating this race at this particular point.
Well, this is the most pressure, though, he has had since he took the lead. He was out 6-8 car lengths. He'd lose it to a caution, extend that out again, and here comes the 2 car moving on up, and he's done it.
Moves right by the 25X of Dan Press for 4th position. So Stevens is really rolling. I'm sure that he is sitting in that cockpit saying, boy, if I hadn't had to make that stop, I'd have won this thing. Here comes Press, though, right back at him. Oh, Press got it all out of shape coming off turn number 2 down into the dogleg. He almost lost it and collected a bunch of guys behind him, but Dan did a good job. kept control and still hangs in there. Uh-oh, trouble, a smoker. The 26 of Scott Lee coming down through turns 3 and 4. We'll see whether a caution comes out. Apparently not at this point.
Apparently he's down low enough on the racetrack. That may be a cut-down tire rubbing on the body. May not be engine smoke. Hard to say, but woo! Now that is a serious problem. 54, Kenny Hendrick, let's hope nobody hits him, has spun in turn 1. It doesn't look like there'll be a caution. I think they wore all the yellow flags out. All they've got are bare sticks.
Well, he crushed the front end pretty good. He's apparently not hurt the suspension a whole lot because he's back up to speed, but visibility would be impaired somewhat. He may be heading, no, he looks like he's going back up to the racing groove and going to carry on here. There's your leader. Butler, right behind him, Corelli is going to make a charge here in the closing laps.
Everybody is just about out of tires here. I think that was some of the ill handling and some of the spins we've seen. They couldn't pass a state safety inspection right now with the amount of rubber that's left on those machines. But look at the Ford here. The General Motors product go toe-to-toe. This is a good one. Great stock car finish could be coming up here.
Corelli going up high as they come off turn 2. He takes a look out there and decides it won't work. Falls back into line. There is AJ, who has now moved up into 6th spot. Terrific drive, and I'll tell you what, the folks are enjoying watching that blue number 22 out here because AJ, look at this. Butler gets tapped by Corelli as they come down to take the white flag lap. Final lap here, and he almost took the leader out, Steve.
Oh, very close. Some fine driving on the part of Toby Butler. Butler right now has got to control his anger. I'm sure that didn't make him smile. Right now, he's just got to get the bit in his teeth and drive his own race and make that car as wide as possible because Corelli has just proven he will try anything to win this race. And there he goes again. Banging him, hitting him, trying everything. Whoa, we talk about aggressive driving. And Toby Butler has won it. He was absolutely right at the top of the show. Here is A.J. Boyd coming across the stripe. Toby said, Phoenix owes me one. Well, he just got a huge payback. No thanks to Rick Corelli.
Well, I would imagine that Toby Butler might want to have a little talk with Rick Corelli down there in the garage area because Corelli really banged him pretty hard on both the final 2 laps of this race. And I'll tell you what, Steve, a less experienced driver would have had it up in the fence, but Butler held on in fine fashion.
You know, these days in Winston Cup racing, now that kind of driving might have got you a fine, a suspension, a black flag. But in this kind of competition, hey, that's what it's all about. You know, they do it every Saturday night.
But you don't do it on a mile racetrack where you're coming off a corner at somewhere around 130, 140 miles an hour. But Toby Butler did a great job. We'll talk to him in victory lane. Find out about those final laps right after this.
There are a lot of cars that suit the way I live. I just can't think of too many I can afford. There is this one. It's got a V6. It's pretty quick, looks sharp, and winter's a problem.
Now there's a Don Shadow convertible with a V6. You can even get one with a roof for under 10 grand.
A roof could be good.
Would you pay $200 for the contents of this bottle? $300? More? Every day, thousands of new car buyers do when they buy a dealer-applied paint sealant. The same professional sealant you can now apply yourself for a fraction of the price. Introducing Clear Coat Paint Sealant from Turtle Wax. New Clear Coat Paint Sealant is a high-tech, Teflon-enriched sealant that chemically bonds to your car's finish to help seal out ultraviolet rays, acid rain, and grime, while safely sealing in the showroom shine. 12 full months of protection absolutely guaranteed. Your car not so new? New Clear Coat Paint Sealant cleans off oxidation, shines, and seals in a just polished look for a full 12 months. The same high-tech protection available for hundreds of dollars from professional car appearance detailers for a fraction of the price. So spend hundreds with them or save hundreds with this. New Clear Coat Paint Sealant from Turtle Wax. Get new Clear Coat Paint Sealant now at these stores.
On the surface, it's a perfect neighborhood. Everything's so well maintained. But beneath the surface, there could be trouble brewing in the septic system. Ask anyone who's had a backup. better to maintain your system. Regular maintenance, including Rid-X, helps keep your septic system free-flowing and helps prevent backup. Look beneath the surface. Use Rid-X once a month.
Rid-X wants you to have this free booklet of easy septic system maintenance tips and helpful information. Just call 1-800-944-RID-X. 1-800-944-RID-X.
This is TNN, the Nashville Network, the #1 source for country music, entertainment, and information.
Welcome back to Phoenix, where a celebration is about to take place for anybody that survived this race. Toby Butler won it. Rick Corelli tried to make sure he didn't. Ron Hornaday Jr., Dan Press, Dirk Stevens all the way back up to 5th after losing the power steering and making a stop. A.J. Foyt, a very impressive 6th place finish after starting way at the back. Doug George finished right behind A.J. in 7th. Brian Germone, David Bird, and Steve Portingay rounds out the top 10. Oh, it's been a beautiful afternoon here in Phoenix. Let's go to Victory Circle and Glenn Jarrett.
Okay, wrapping up the stock car portion of this year's Copper Classic, coming home in victory lane, finally at Phoenix International Raceway. Toby Butler, how does it feel, man?
Well, I tell you what, Rick Corelli, Ron Hornaday, Dirk Stevens, you know, my mirror was full of them the whole race, and the car was a little tight, but I tell you what, I figured they owed me this one. I wasn't going to give it up. He's going to have to put me in the wall, and darn near did, so. We're happy. Bob Molnar out of Wide World Maps invited me up here. You know, we weren't going to come because out of funds, and he got a hold of me and offered me, you know, to help pay some expenses, and I just appreciate it, you know. And this Van Cleve Ford Larson & King machine, Ford Thunderbird, was great all day, I'll tell you.
Well, folks, I only got to know this guy last November. I've become a big fan, and this is as excited as I've been in a long time seeing somebody come to victory lane. Congratulations, Toby.
I love you.
Now let's go back to Brock Yates.
Rick Corelli out of the race car. Great show. Just gave it everything he had. Just lacked about 6 inches, I guess, or maybe 6 horsepower, something like that, but real close. Couldn't have tried any harder than he did.
Yeah, you know, it was a great race. My hat's off to Toby. You know, he secured his line what he had to do. And I didn't mean to rough him up there. He just got a little slow. And, you know, with this 6, I got to keep it wound up. If not, I'm dead coming off. Halfway through the race, we started getting tight. And the more laps I would run, the better I'd get. You know, and those last yellows hurt me, actually.
Well, you did great. Great show, all you guys. And now let's go to Glenn Jarrett.
Well, you can see by the smile on this man's face that he's had a pretty good day. A.J. Foyt, it just shows that old soldiers don't ever die. They just keep coming on strong.
Well, you know, I come out here. This is a fun race. It's a very hard race. You know, to me, it's one of the toughest races you can run anywhere in the country because everybody comes out here to have fun. When you have fun, you usually race harder. And I just owe everything to Fry Miller and the team because the crew, after I pulled a goof up the other day and run out of experience in the middle of the corner and slapped the wall and, you know, more or less totaled the car out. They worked all night and did one hell of a job to get it back where we did.
Well, it looked like the way the car was working that as the race went on, you got more and more comfortable with it and you could do more things with the car.
Well, that's quite true. I was getting used to it. You know, this is the 3rd time I ever driven these type of cars, and they're just a lot of fun. They're like a race car, and like I say, I was getting more used to it. And the biggest thing was it's the first time I ever drove a little V6 engine. And when the V8s would get me anchored down, you know, in traffic, it's hard to get it running. But once I got used to it, we caught on pretty quick.
Well, that's fun to pass all those cars, isn't it?
It sure was a hell of a lot of them. That's all I can say.
In fact, A.J., there were 38 of them. We were counting. Here's the stats on the race. The average speed, pretty slow at 116 and change with all those cautions. Margin of victory, you saw it 3/4 of a car length. Record crowd for this race, 37,000 people. Let's go to Glenn Jarrett again.
Another guy that's showing a lot of smiles here this afternoon after that hard-fought battle in the stock car portion of the Copper Classic is Dirk Stevens. Dirk, you got all the way up to 2nd. We're gaining on Toby Butler there early in the race. Then under caution, a lot of smoke came out of the car, broke a power steering hose, had to go to the rear of the field. Then you charged back. Looks like that was a lot of work.
Yeah, it was. Actually, you know, I was just kind of running this, following Toby. I saw he was working his right rear pretty hard, so we decided that let's kind of hold back, and that power steering hose went, and NASCAR knew what it was too, you know, and all the fluid was gone, but they still had to pull me in, which really hurt, and I don't know, I think we came from like 33rd back up to 5th, so I'm proud of what we did.
Well, that was a tremendous charge. Looked like the car was working really well.
The car was working good. You know, the last restart, I think we had, what, 5 or 6 laps to go. And I figured we'd make a pretty good charge at it. And I just threw the tires were gone. Last 5 laps, tires were gone.
Congratulations again on a great job.
Thank you.
So in the midgets, Chuck Gurney, and in the stocks, Toby Butler struck copper during the hills of Arizona.
And led much of the event, but on lap 21, Stan Fox took over the point, and he held it there till the checkers flew.